everyone, welcome into the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star, and today on part 7 of my List Perfectly Pro Plan series, we're going to be taking a look at how to start a listing on List Perfectly to have it in your catalog. We've already covered how to cross-post from your catalog to other platforms. We've covered how to take listings from other platforms and cross-post to each other, from other platforms into your catalog on List Perfectly. And yesterday I showed you templates. So today we're going to be looking at actually starting a listing on List Perfectly from beginning to end. When you log into List Perfectly and you're on your main page, you will hover over listings and you're just going to go down to add listing. Now you would select a template here if you had one set up for what you're about to list, which I absolutely recommend doing unless you have something that is super rare, unique. You're only ever going to list one time. It's a one-off. But most of the time you're going to be listing the same stuff over and over. So you want to have those templates set up. So let's say I wanted to list a stuffed animal. And then I would grab my pictures from my computer. I don't have any, let's see. I have a remote. So we will change my template. We'll say I'm listing this remote. So if you use Sizely, if you have an account with them or it's something that you like to use and you're listing a clothing item, this would be where you would click on your Sizely and fill that information in, and it adds the photo right to your photos here. If you hadn't heard the news, List Perfectly did partner with Sizely and the photo room app back in August. So now you can edit your photos and you can remove the background using the photo room app right here within List Perfectly. So you just push remove background and it'll do it for you. You only get 500 a month. It keeps track of them right here. So what folks are either recommending is just doing the first photo, which a lot of people do. They just do the first picture and leave the rest, or continuing to use Photo Room app the way you always have. But since most people like to use the free version of it anyway and don't do all their photos, then they just do the first picture anyway. If you want to do all your photos, you can. Just keep in mind you only get 500 with the Pro plan. Background removed by photo room. See it right there. I would save it. But you can edit your photos just like you would on eBay. You can rotate, you can crop. The coolest part about the crop on List Perfectly is you can click square mode, and when you crop it, it's going to stay in square mode, which is what Poshmark loves, right? So once you've got your pictures the way you want, you would go down to your title and fill in the rest of it. I would put here Sony and this model number. So I would put Sony, genuine remote control. This is an AV system. So whoop, I like to put genuine first because there are knockoffs on remotes, believe it or not. AV system. And then I would put the model number, which I can't see unless I pull up the picture big. And for sake of the video, we'll just say it's that. All right, now here's another cool trick. So to the right, you see where it says show all titles. If you click that, it will pop up down here with the other platforms. And it's going to show you how many max characters on each platform those titles can be. And if you wanted a different title on those platforms, you would just fill these in, or you could copy paste. Because I only primarily cross-post to Mercari and Poshmark, and they are all at 80 max characters now, same as eBay. I don't fill any of these in or do any different titles on any of the different platforms, but you certainly can, and that's what this is here for. And then suggest title. If you wanted List Perfectly to suggest a title for you, you would go and fill everything else in and then come back up here and it'll show you what it recommends. And then you can copy paste. So we'll come back up and take a peek at that because the suggested title is pretty cool. So I would say that this is what they're buying. Make it a little neat. It's a Sony, so I'd fill that in. if you are listing clothing, you would put the color. You could put your materials here, cotton blend, any of those. You can put your style and your features, size, and then intended for men, women, kids. You can see all the choices here. You can have condition notes. You can say new, pre-owned, or not have condition. So this pro description is optional. This is the one that creates the bullet-like description in your description box. So you could put V-neck, 3/4 sleeves, bell sleeves, pointy collar, whatever you want to point out about the item, you would just put in each of these lines and they come up as bullets. So add optional things about pattern or texture, season or weather, care from the care tag on the item, and where it was made. You can have a measurement heading and measurements here that will be added to your listing, and you can have a bottom of the description. So this is a pro description. Definitely, there's all kinds of different information you can fill in here and make it a little bit more detailed. Obviously, the more details you add to a listing, the more your buyer is going to know ahead of time. You do decrease your chances of returns and getting questions about the item. All right, the next section is keywords, pricing, quantity, SKU, UPC, and cost of goods. So this is where you would put your keywords or tags. Mercari and Poshmark both allow you to have 3 tags a piece on your listing to help you show up in searches. I'm not sure about any of the other platforms that are offered here, like Kidizen and Etsy. I'm not familiar there. I don't list there, but if they do have those keywords, this is where you would put them. You do not need to put a hashtag. All you need to do is put a comma. This is all you need to do. You put your 3 keywords, whatever they're going to be, and separate them by a comma, and that is it. List perfectly. When you copy to the other platforms, will do what it needs to do to make them tags on those listings, whether it's add a hashtag or make them separate bullets, points, or whatever, what have you. So all you need to do is put the comma. There's no need to do hashtags or any of that. So you add your keywords there. You can add your cost of goods if you'd like, because you can absolutely keep track of your finances and your profits and everything on each individual item using the Pro Plan. You put the price you want it to start at. So when you cross post, that will fill in. You can put in your MSRP. If you're on Poshmark and you do like most people, we put 0, right? The SKU line is just like the SKU line on eBay. This is your personal area to put whatever information you need or want about the item that the buyer is never going to see. We usually put the date we initially listed, the price we want, where it's located. We have sometimes a special code here for different locations and whether or not it's going to need weighed once it sells. I think I told you guys yesterday, there's some items that we pre-weigh that we just pull and slap a label on and ship, and some we weigh it at the time of shipping. The cool part about this is once you've filled in something once, it is a choice in this drop-down box. So you only really have to type, if you have extensive SKU lines like we do, you can only have to type it once, and then you can just choose it moving forward. You can put your UPC here and multi-quantity if it's more than one. Then you're going to go to shipping and variations. So if you have variations or multi-quantities, this is where you would put the size, color, custom quantity, SKU line. Then you put your shipping information. You can fill out as much or as little as you want. It's all going to copy over for you. Inventory and sales. So this is where once the item sells, you would put in the fees and the shipping, the total sold price, and it should figure out your profit for you based on what you said your cost of goods was. Let's test that theory. Let's say spent $20 on it. Or sorry, who spent $20? I spent $2 on this remote, right? And we'll say it sold, and it sold for $50 on eBay, so that would be roughly $7.50 in fees. and we'll say it was $3.50 to ship. Yep, that's filling in for you. Whoop, whoop. That may be something else that moving forward I might have to start using myself on this pro plan guide. I haven't been using the ability to figure out your profit and all of that, but look at that, how simple that was, how easy that was. You have to come back in here to market sold when it sells anyway. We're going to cover that later in the series, but I do need to make that very clear to you. Just because you're cross-posting from your catalog and it's keeping track of where it's listed and it keeps track of the IDs and the item numbers, List Perfectly does not auto unlist. If something sells on eBay, you still have to come into your catalog and mark it sold on eBay and ask LP to end it on the other platforms. There is a reason for this. It's because List Perfectly is not a bot. It does not auto do anything or go into any of your platforms without your permission and change or do anything. So you have to tell it, it's sold, please end on the other platforms, and then it will pop up tabs and you have to go through and manually end it yourself. That is so that you have complete control and nothing is happening or being done to your listings without you double checking them and making sure everything is good to go. So List Perfectly does not auto list or auto end, auto list, doesn't do auto anything. But if something sells, List Perfectly doesn't end it on the other platforms for you. You have to come in and do it yourself. It's really, really super simple and fast. Like I said, we'll cover that later, but I just want to make that clear because I've seen a lot of posts in the Facebook groups where new people misunderstood how easy it is to mark things as sold and end them. I guess they thought because these numbers were down here, it would automatically happen. And then they were double selling, or things that had already sold on Poshmark would be selling on eBay and vice versa. And we're getting into some kind of a mess. So keep that in mind. It doesn't happen automatically, but it does make it easy. So yes, you can, once it's sold, fill all of this in the date, the fees, the shipping, the total sold price, and it figures out the profit for you. And then customizations. These are like, do you want normal bullets? Do you want emojis? Do you want a shortened listing? You can choose inches or centimeters for your measurements, or you can display both. And description preview, you can copy your description there. Here's a place for seller notes. So it's like an extra SKU line, basically. You can put any notes you want here about the item. If it had flaws, if you need to know that it's in a different bin, if you need to know that you had 5 of them or 10 of them, whatever you need to know that didn't fit in the SKU line. It's basically just an extra SKU line, little paragraph spot. And if you are creating drafts like I like to do, and not just listing everything, I like to have a stockpile, you would just check draft. If you're listing the item, you would select save and exit to catalog, which I'm not going to do because this is a fake listing. But once you click that save and exit to catalog, it brings you right out to your catalog, and it would be a new listing here with no platforms. You would click your blue button and push it out to any and all platforms that you want. I suggest for time management and going quickly and efficiently to list 10 on List Perfectly and then cross post them out. I think it's a little bit redundant to list it, come here, click this, copy it, when you can just do 10 or 20 in a row and then do this start selecting and go down and just do 10 or 20 at a time. I feel like that's the best use of your time. So that is how you list on List Perfectly. I pretty much feel confident that I've gone over all of the different sections on a listing in List Perfectly, what you fill in. It's all going to copy over to platforms. There are certain things that don't copy over, such as your personal store categories on eBay, such as the categories on Poshmark. It just is. Those platforms just don't allow for that to be copy pasted. but the majority of it does copy over. It's good information to fill out. If I didn't explain something to the point where you clearly understand it, if I went too fast, if I skipped over something that you want to know more about, any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know in the comments down below. I love to hear from you guys and I love to help you. So don't hesitate to let me know if you have questions. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up before you leave. It really helps the channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Help us feed a hungry hippo. And don't forget to join our Facebook group. It's called Flippin Hippos Reseller Pod, and there's a link down below. Click it and join a really great community of resellers. Until next time, go be productive, go make some money, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Y'all are the best. Bye.